A new season and a new series here on RaceSpotTV, Friday Night Primetime. We go from open wheels to closed wheels, to be exact, the GT4s and the touring cars. Welcome to the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge and the season opener for the second season of 2021. Hello and welcome one and all. I'm Nola Rempel with Stefan Schleck here beside me in the commentary box and Connery Maddock in the cameras for today's presentation. Stefan, we're looking to have one heck of a season here. I think most notable about this season is the brand new McLaren 570S GT4, running alongside the BMW M4 GT4 and the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport, with the Audi RS3 LMS, as always, taking up the TCR class. So a new car here today, the venue, Sebring International Raceway. A 30-minute timed race. Should be plenty of time to see what this brand new McLaren is made of.
Yeah, and it's a really great car and a great addition as well. Good looking with a great feel on the brakes as well. Has the perfect rotation on the brakes. So really look out for the tight, twisty tracks where that McLaren will be strong. But still, the Porsche and BMW not to underestimate in this series.
Well, you mentioned that Sebring might not be the best of places to test out this car. It may very well be the Porsche Challenge out here today in the pre-show here, Stefan. Take a look at the schedule here. We got Sebring currently where we're at here today. Lime Rock Park, going to be a very chaotic race there coming up next week on March 26th. Then we go, of course, to the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, followed by Sonoma, then Australia to Phillip Island, the fearsome Nordschleife on April 23rd to round off the first half of the season. Then we pop on over to Brands Hatch before another leap across the pond back to Long Beach, Mid-Ohio, and Charlotte Roval to finish off races 8, 9, and 10. The brand new Hockenheim ring coming up in round number 11, finishing it off at Road Atlanta on June the 4th. Very packed schedule coming up here, a lot of very exciting tracks as well, and perfect for a series like this one.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to that American stretch. That's really going to show what these cars are made of, and obviously really looking forward to a brand new edition of track as well with the Hockenheim ring.
We are going to be running the Grand Prix layout for that facility, one of the German racetracks. I believe the only second German facility to ever be featured on the service part for the Nürburgring itself. So no doubt going to be a very entertaining season coming on up. But we kick things off here in Florida at Sebring International Raceway, a very long track and a very bumpy track, most notable for the IMSA event of the 12 Hours of Sebring that takes place every single year, utilizing an old air base as its main headquarters for the front and pit straightaways. And so qualifying well underway. We're taking a look right now at the full send TCR machine. The number 16 of Fraser Smith currently throwing his machine through the corner. I believe he's now just coming on up here to the tower turn here. One of the more difficult corners to get right, and one of the few 90-degree right-handers we got here on the circuit. Check on that one. It was coming through Cunningham just there.
It's a great track actually for this TCR. It loves the bumps, it loves to mount those curbs. It has no problem whatsoever with it, and it's actually going to be a difficult car to overtake here for the GT4. So look out for a little bit of trouble in the race when those GT4s might come around to lap the TCRs.
This track is a very, very bumpy one, and I think that's where we can see some of these GT4s struggling, because the GT4s do not handle bumps so well. The BMW tends to be a little bit better in that department than the Porsche, but I'll tell you what, the guys running the Porsches and the McLarens, they might have their works run out today. Speaking of which, at the pole right now for that for the GT4 class is Emmanuel Petri in the number 3 machine. He is currently sitting top of the timing boards with a 2:09.189 for his time. On pole for the TCRs, you've got George Simmons in the number 2 car running a 2:14.866. So about a 5-second difference here to the GT4 and the TCR pole sitters.
Right now, the fastest McLaren, by the way, is in 7th place, and we even have a BMW in here, so it is still very competitive. It's only about 1.3 seconds right now between the fastest Porsche and the fastest McLaren, so still everything open, because as we know, qualifying is only so little of a 30-minute race.
The top 4 right now in GT4s are separated by just 1/10 of a second. It's even more competitive, though, in the TCRs because from first to last of the qualifying times, it is only 1.09 seconds separating the 11 cars that are set qualifying laps in the touring car class. So, as always, those Audis are just so close together, and it's not an unusual sight to see that. They are front-wheel drive. They don't have the highest top speed in the world. That's what allows them to race so good together.
Yeah, exactly. And the draft as well, it is extremely great. If you know GTO cars, those cars are bricks, but once they get into the draft, they just fly off the straight. They gain so much momentum. It's the same thing with the Audi. It has that little bit of brick shape, if you really look at it, and that's what makes it such a great car to draft off, and it's so easy to stick together.
Qualifying is over, so let's take a quick moment here. We'll take a run on down through your starting grid. Started at the top in the GT4 class is Emmanuel Petri from Italy. Right beside him is going to be Quentin Violette, hailing from France, the number 1 machine. Rudy Boineau is sitting in 3rd with Tim Claessens in the 4th position. Rounding out the top 5 is going to be Tim Grevin with Bergim Eliou rounding out the row number 3. Row 4 holds Jonathan Paulette and Nicholas Pijner in the 8th position. Owen Watts and Bram Dempour round out 9th and 10th. Tyson Mayer is in 11th with Joshua Helrung in 12th. And Anton Titus, a driver who is returning from the IMSA series at the last season of 2020, is going to be sitting in 13th with Michael Leib in 14th. Dylan Roberts sits 15th. Check that. Lyman's going to be starting behind. Tom Edmonds did not set a qualifying time. Let's see if he makes the grid. Stefan, you have the TCR class.
I sure do. It is George Simmons on the pole for that class with Miguel Freitas lining up alongside him right now in 2nd place. There we have it now on your screen. Mikael Garcia is in 3rd place. The number 8 driver alongside him will be Norbert Leitner. Fraser Smith and Damon Owen Harris complete your top 6 here today at Sebring International Raceway, with Nicolas Gash in 7th, Ismael Habib Jimenez in 8th rather, Alexis Tapia Vicio in 9th place. 10th spot on the grid takes up Matthew Crisp, and rounding out your 11 drivers in this field here today is the 11 of David Golda Renesa.
It's going to be a full pace lap here for all 28 drivers that are at this point, I believe, just now finished gridding on up. So it's going to be a long way around this facility. I believe this track is probably about a solid 3 miles long at least. It's a beautiful track, though. I mean, it's a fantastic day for racing, though, as well. You got about 103 degrees, the track temperature at the moment, 79 degrees in the air. Pretty strong winds, though, here today. Blowing eastbound at 14 miles an hour at the moment with about 33% of humidity in the air. So a hot day and a windy one down there on the track.
Yeah, and it should be a hot day of racing as well. I actually spotted a 2nd BMW as well in this race. Didn't really expect that, I have to say, to see any BMWs. But hey, good on them. Good for them to stick up with their car and drive all day long.
You, of course, have the class separation between your GT4s and the touring cars. Not uncommon to see here in multi-class racing. At the moment, everybody is kind of just single-filed out, some double a little bit further in the back at the moment. Nobody really needs to be doubled up at the moment because they know they have a long way to go yet for this pace lap. Let's talk about some of the corners to watch out for today, especially the opening laps. Obviously, besides turns 1 and 2 being big factors here, the corner the GT4 is coming up right now. This is going to be a big one here, the hairpin turn. It's by far one of the best passing opportunities you got on the track. It is the tightest and slowest corner of the track. Don't discount, though, turns like the Sunset Bend down the Oldman Straight. and the run you can get out to the Le Mans curve.
Yeah, the hairpin, or safety pin as it's also known as, obviously a prime overtaking spot, but Sunset Bend, it is a little bit of a tricky one. Obviously, you have to kind of compromise on your setup for that kind of corner, because everything is so flat out. You are braking in a straight line, and then you have that weird kind of bumpy right-hander that is the Sunset Bend, where you don't really have a braking point, you don't really have a turning point, you're all just guesstimating into there. And in those GT4 cars, it's one of the hardest things to do. The only thing that's really harder of a corner-wise than the Sunset Bend is turn 1 at Daytona, because that corner, really, you have no braking point that you can look for, you have no turning point that you can look for, you're just guesstimating, hoping you made everything right.
Well, we're starting to come on up here to the final sector of the racetrack, where the grassy stretches turned onto the abandoned runways here on the airfield. So we are getting set to go racing here for the first time in the second season of 2021 for the iRacing IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Stefan, why don't you give us your final thoughts about what we can see in today's 30-minute race here before we go green?
It's gonna be a gloves-off fight in the TCR class. You're only gonna know who is gonna win it once they have crossed the start-finish line. GT4s, probably look out for a top 6 or 7 separation from the rest of the field, and those guys are really gonna fight it out. And especially if they're gonna catch bad TCR traffic, it's gonna be open for pretty much everybody.
About 2/3 of the way down the Old Mill Straight, you see the TCRs just crossing over there in the background. Those guys are going to have one heck of a run. Their first turn will technically be the, well, actually the Sunset Bend when their green flag drops because of how far back they are. So we'll have to watch out for that start as well. For now, though, it is now going to be all in the hands of Emmanuel Petri as the Porsche iRacing pace car is going to take them off of turn, off of the final corner here at the Sunset Bend. Pace car pulls off now. Petri's on the lap pedal. We are underway here at Sebring for 30 minutes of racing action. It's a great launch from Petri there. Not so much for Violette. He's already got third place. And Rudy Boyneux going to go through into second place on the left side of him. Down in the turn number 1 we go here. Will they be able to keep it all safe and sound? A little bit of 3-wide action further in the back, but so far, no contact. Yeah, one car goes onto the dirt, but we are still clean and green here. All through turn 1 for turn 2. Will it be the same story? Cars still getting close. Some guys getting a bit of door-to-door action, but so far still completely green. Definitely the cleanest start of one of these races I have seen in a very long time. 2 TCRs, though, looks to be already out of the fight.
Yeah, that TCR start looked kind of like a NASCAR start, and you spoke too soon.
That was Norbert Leitner that just got taken out there by Mikel Garcia. The full send racing machine, unfortunately, just got a bit too antsy in the entry of the corner, got a bit loose, could not fight back. New damage model on these machines has torn the back end of that 7 clean off. Taking a look at the replay now, we're looking at the GT4 class, so check that. We're going to look back here to that TCRs. Watch that full send machine right there, got a bit loose on the brakes, just cleans him out. And it looks as though we got some more troubles there. Tyson Mayer is facing the wrong way around at the moment in the number 20 machine. So one of our only McLarens in the grid has had some troubles. It looks like Aliu has also had some major issues. He is, I don't even think he's on the racing surface anymore. So a lot of drivers having some troubles here in the early running of this one here, Stefan.
Yeah, quite a few drivers have, as you said, had already coming together with each other or even with the wall. There was some problems apparently with some cars in the hairpin, because there are now a few into the pit box, but these guys up front, they have done so far everything right. It's, I think right now, even a top 6 Porsche lockout.
Right now, the battling is all up there in the GT4s, and I believe we're at the moment looking at the battle for second here as Quentin Violette is trying to fight back here on Rudy Boyneux, who took the second position early. That one car closes right up on the back end, all the way through turn number 1. He's trying to have a look around, maybe for turn 2, but decides to get back in line. Not the smartest move to go for a pass here in this section of the corners, not on the second lap of a 30-minute race at least. Looks like this is where the battles are going to be sticking, though, for quite some time here. That number 1 machine gets a great drive of a turn 4. We're going to come up for the hairpin now around the great bend. A long sweeping right-hander. Will he make this look here for the second position? He's actually going to keep it in line here. So it looks like your GT4 field wanted to play it nice and safe here in the early running.
Yeah, I think he sees that P1 is starting to run away, so plays the safe game to not let Petri run too far away, because the gap, as we can see, has already opened up to about a second between first and second.
Going to take a look back here at your TCR class. I believe we're looking right now at George Simmons just going his way through the corner. He's got himself Miguel Freitas just behind. Oh, whoa, one car way off in the background. That was Laszlo Sabo in the number 24 car that just had a massive bit of overshooting his braking point. Nearly took out Fraser Smith in the process. Good on him to bail out across that corner, but he was nowhere close to making that one work.
No, most definitely missed his braking point quite a bit, but the good thing is he realized that and then went on to the old version of the hairpin that they used to drive way back when safety wasn't an issue, and Laszlo Sabo with that lost quite a few seconds as well there, because he also had to serve a slowdown.
Looks like we got a battle on here for third place in the GT4 class. The TCRs throw their way through. Tim Clausen's trying to push his way around the outside of the Sunset Bend. Check that for the fourth position. My mistake on that one. Brevin trying to fight back. Clausen's trying to go for the switch back. Wasn't able to get the run that he needed though off the Sunset Bend. So once again, sticking in line here in the run down the straightaway. That Sunset Bend is such an interesting corner for battles to go through, because usually the outside line is able to get such a better run off the corner. Claus is keeping a very tight line, though, through turn 1. He is definitely trying to get the run through on the entry and middle portion of these corners here.
I don't think it was actually intended to have that tight of a line there through Christensen, because he most definitely was a little bit sideways through there. And I think that's what made his line such a tight one.
The battles are really heating up all over the racetrack. We got this battle here for fourth. We got another one for second and third just up the road. The TCR battle for the race lead is still very close as well. As we take a look at all of this, there's so much to pay attention right now on the track. Definitely very unlike the last series that we did here on RaceSpot Prime Time. Let's take a look back here at that TCR battle for their own race lead here. This is Miguel Freitas trying to run down George Simmons, who has held the race lead since the drop of the green flag. Damian Owen Harris, though, in that 5 car, is just kind of waiting in the wings here. We ride on board with Harris now, as he maybe tries to hope that these two guys take each other out in front of him so he can squeak on through.
That's a great battle for these guys. 3-way fight for the lead. That's not something we see even very often for the TCR, so good job for these three.
Down on the brakes we go for the Cunningham Bend. Harris able to take a bit of a tighter line as Freitas runs closer to the exit curves. He's going to keep it nice and tight through the double kink here of, I believe that's turns about 7 and 8. Down from the Tower Bend now, a 90-degree right. Definitely one of the hardest corners on the racing surface. We continue our ride on board with the fiercely forward machine. He was just now starting to back off a little bit more, I'm noticing. Kind of letting these two guys get a bit closer in front. I think he set himself up in case these guys end up taking each other out. This is where we're going to see the draft come into play big here, though, in the runoff of Le Mans corner here.
Actually, it's going to be interesting to see what Damien does right now. He will have the good draft. He will have to double draft from the 9 and the 2 in front of him. But will he actually try to do something? He had a bad run out of Le Mans, so he's not going to be able to do anything. And here comes Freitas to the back of the 2 ahead. But look at that. The 9 is lifting, so he also does want to play the winning game right now.
I think this is a really good fight to see here. You got these guys playing things nice and patient. Oh, got some trouble up in the GT4 class. Antonin Titus has just spun his BMW M4 at turn number 2. So some more drivers having some struggles up here in the field as the battles continue to heat on up. Looks like third place of Harris here in TCRs might be looking for that move as well. Gonna see if we can maybe get a replay here of what happened to Antonin Titus. He was in a battle with one of the only McLarens who got in the field right now. You can see that McLaren trying to push around the outside of turn number 1. This is the battle for 7th and 8th here these guys are due battle for. Was there contact in this one, though, on the brakes? No, just clipped the grass on the entry, and that sends the BMW around.
Easy mistake to do, especially in the BMW, following someone, just losing a little bit sight of track where you're going, and whoops, around she goes.
He was fighting with one of the only two McLarens we got in the grid at the moment. The McLaren he was do battle with is Owen Watts, who does have some damage on the front end. We'll take a look back now at this TCR battle for the race lead again, as the GT4s are still running line astern. No updates in those running orders there, apart from that spin from Titus. So Freitas continuing to try to apply the pressure here on George Simmons to see if he can maybe force the Apex Race Machine into a mistake.
Probably one of the most hardest things to do, to push George Simmons into a mistake, but it's not unheard of. And you know, 30 minutes of driving ahead with two cars behind you, that can get to your head, even if you're someone like George Simmons.
Dirty air is certainly not a factor here with the touring cars. They are just so great at pushing through and staying nice and close. Look at how tight they are through this final sector in the run-up to Le Mans. Looks like it's a bad run, though, for Freitas off the Le Mans corner, but even worse for Simmons, who gets into the grass. That's going to give Freitas a huge head of steam here in the run down the Ullman Straight, so we could see a pass here. Coming into the Sunset Bend, Freitas is going to look to the right side of the racetrack. Simmons is not going to go defensive, so Simmons is going to have to hold on the long way around Sunset Bend if he wants to maintain the race lead. They're still side by side. Freitas stepping that back end a little bit to the middle of the corner, but gets the pass done. Here comes Harris trying to pick up second position. He's going to dip two tires into the grass.
Harris a little bit too aggressive there on that pass, but look at that. George Simmons back to the inside.
One car goes way off just in front of these guys, and that was the one of the GT4s that sweep wide, giving these guys some room. Now Simmons runs wide through turn one. Freitas gonna have to cut back here for two, but he is not gonna be able to do it. And somehow George Simmons maintains the race lead after all of that in the battle for the TCR race lead, and we're already a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit shocked about the amount of crashes we have had. We've lost quite a few cars already. 5 cars still in the pits, few laps down, so a little bit of a dirty race, as there we have another car, the 25 of Jascha Hellrung, once again into the pit lane.
I believe this was the machine that we actually saw. Yeah, this was actually the car that we had just seen. He was in a very bad incident here. We just caught the tail end of it there. There's your TCR match behind. Whoa! A couple cars actually looked like they were caught up in this one. And so we'll follow this 25 machine, see what happens. Oh, there was big trouble in front of him. He lost the back end on the exit, clobbered the pit wall there. And then he comes back onto the track here, comes back on right in front of these guys, and I think spins it again. And then he's going to get, oh, he gets clobbered there by the 28.
Yeah, I can't get more awkward than that interaction between all those cars. So it looks like I was like 3 different incidents with all 3 cars just spinning themselves out of the Sunset Bend. Let's maybe have a better shot here through Sunset Bend. They go, and yeah, look at that. Oh, that was actually, oh, that looks way different from that angle.
Oh.
All right.
It looks like the McLaren was caught up in that one as well. Might have been the cause that they were definitely going 3 wide. I'm not sure if they were trying to get around a lap car or if they were just really fighting hard to kind of keep each other at bay. That's a strange one for sure. Emmanuel Petri continues to lead. He's down got a comfortable 1.2 second gap over Violette down in the second position for the GT4s. And all of the battles have pretty much been completely diminished as a result of this one. So we're going to look back up here to the battle for the race lead in the touring car class. A battle for 4th has picked on up as well. In fact, it's actually just behind these guys, as Nicholas Gage has caught up with Fraser Smith as well. So these guys are all battling out at the same time. You got this battle going up here. Looks like we might have a pass for 3rd. Karras looks for the inside, but can't get the run that he needs around turn 1 on Freitas.
I'm honestly a tiny little bit surprised that TCRs are our class of focus because of how much they're battling. So didn't expect that from our TCRs, guys. So great on them to give us that great show. But there we go. Oh, Harris with a bad turn number 4. He's going to lose right away a few car lengths as well.
Up to the race lead for the TCR class is in the Porsche, in the GT4s. Pietro continues to lead by 1.3 seconds. Less than 2/10 though between Freitas and Simmons at the moment. Freitas tried to have a daring look around Simmons through the Sunset Bend and turn 1, but Simmons was somehow able to hang on to his race lead. Oh, he's really flirting with that grass, so that's making me uncomfortable watching him get so close to that grass there, because you and I have both driven these kinds of touring cars here, Stefan, and we both know you break in the grass, give up any hope of trying to keep that car in a straight line.
Yeah, you're gonna need your best drift skills to get that car then around the corner, because that car is like the most loose thing you have ever seen or driven when you hit that grass. But hey, still a great job, and it seems like even Harris has been able to recover somewhat the gap that he has lost out of turn 4, as he has closed right back into the top 2 by the time they hit Lemma once again for the 6th time already, by the way.
Only on lap number 6, we're already almost about a minute and a half, halfway through this race. Will Freitas go for the move here into the Sunset Bend? He's making the look for it, letting Simmons know that he's there, but keeps it in line, allows Simmons to get the line that he needs to get to that apex of Sunset Bend. It really is kind of a triple apex corner. You get 1, 2, and 3 right there. Now he's going to swing it out wide to the left side of the racetrack, right where the track kind of juts out before he has to cut back in to avoid the wall. Freitas closing again, this time looking to the left side of the run down to turn number 1. Still electing to keep it in line, though. I think he's trying to force Simmons to brake later than he wants and run wide for one of these corners by poking his nose out like that.
Oh yeah, Miguel right now most definitely playing the mind game with Simmons. It somewhat starts to look like it is working, because Simmons is more and more in the grass just about as he starts to brake, so he has to be careful, that number 2 car. Otherwise, we're gonna see an apex misser rather than an apex hitter.
So Freitas continues to try to run it down. This battle is starting to split up a little bit more. You see it's about 3/10 apiece right now. Harris is still waiting very, very patiently in the wings here, trying to see if he can maybe pressure both of these guys into making an error of their own doing so he gets through to take the race lead. I know that's the one thing that fiercely forward machine wants to see, is to see both of these guys cleaning each other out.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to happen with Freitas and Simmons, one of the most respectful drivers out there. So it all is going to come down who has the longest breath here, because those guys are going to fight it out all the way till the end of the checkered flag.
We have folks on the GT4s in a while. We have a battle going on, though, for the 8th position on the racetrack. Michael Lyman is currently having to fend off Antonin Titus, who had to spin earlier on in the race. Titus is all sorts of loose as he gets the cross done on the BMW. Look out, though, for Dylan Roberts in the McLaren, trying to retake the 10th position. Titus has gone 2 spots in this one lap. Now Lyman's trying to fight back around the outside here for turn number 1. Titus squeezes him in towards the pit wall, but Lyman's going to hold strong, tries to get the run around the outside. Titus cuts him off, and nothing he can do about it. Here goes the McLaren of Roberts trying to find some speed.
Yeah, Dylan with the wise choice sticks back in behind that BMW battle. Not only the 2 BMWs battling, it's also the battle for the fastest BMW right now, obviously with only those 2 in the field. So right now the title of the fastest BMW goes to Antonio Titus, and I don't think he's really going to lose it, because he is right now the much faster driver over Lyman, but Lyman most definitely standing his ground.
Blink of the headlights there for the number 6 car, Titus. We saw Titus was actually really, really strong in the GT3 class when we covered the iRacing IMSA Sports Car Championship just a couple seasons ago, actually, at the end of 2020. And it looks like he is being just as strong here in the GT4 class for round 1 of the Pilot Challenge. So great to see that Titus is able to adapt so quickly from the GT3 machines over to the GT4s. Now this battle started splitting up a bit. I think Dylan Roberts was trying to get a run on these guys while they were side by side. Missed opportunity there for the McLaren.
Yeah, but you have to give it to him, because it was kind of late. It would have been kind of late into turn 3. So Dylan Roberts most definitely did the smart choice. They're not forcing an issue going into turn 3 too wide, because especially you then have the right-hand king following the left-hander into the left-hander. So for Dylan right now, the better choice, but watch out. I'm thinking that he might soon be able to get something on him.
That's one battle we'll have to keep our eyes on, and we'll watch for it in case it closes on up again. But seeing as this has now split on up, once again, the closest battle on the track is the three-way fight going for the TCR race lead. This time, though, it's actually Simmons that's starting to pull a bit of a gap here. Freitas is under fire here from Damien Owen Harris, and at this point, if Harris would have braked about 10 feet later, he would have clobbered the rear wing of Miguel Freitas. That is how close right now these guys are running to one another. It is just absolutely insane.
And it kind of starts to look like we kind of get to know what these guys are going for setup-wise. Owen Harris in behind always loses a little bit of time in the first two sectors, but boy, does he get it done through the section of Chenepien and Le Mans. Always closes back in 2-3 tenths on the two guys ahead of him. So really great setup by Harris if he can get that move done out of Le Mans.
Cross start finish line to cross onto lap number 9. Deep on the brakes. This time Freitas is wider than he would have liked for turn 1. That allows Harris to close on in, but Harris sacrificed him that time when he dipped his right rear into the grass by the smallest of margins. The gaps are just so fine here. All three of these guys are, some of the better drivers in the business when it comes to touring car racing, because if these guys were ending closer, they would absolutely be running each other over in these corners. The fact that they've been able to keep it so strong is just absolutely insane that they've been so close for almost 20 minutes now.
I can't believe we have already nearly done 20 minutes of racing here. It has flown by quite fast as well. Lap 9 already for these TCRs as they are nearly inside of each other.
You even lost sight of the rear bumper there from on board of Harris's machine. He was that close to Freitas. I mean, this is just some insane racing here. Coming up to Cunningham. This time, Harris gets a bit close for comfort. I believe he might have just barely given Freitas the smallest of taps there on the back end through the Cunningham bend up for Tower. This has got to make Freitas a bit nervous now. I think all the pressure is on the number 9 car because he's got to try to find a way to get around Simmons, but he's got to focus just as much here on defense, trying to keep Damien Harris at bay.
Yeah, most definitely seems like Miguel has the biggest pressure right now. Kind of seems like he's that LMP2 and the LMP1 and GTE sandwich of a multi-class racing, but no, we're all in the TCRs, and quite honestly, I don't know if Freitas right now is attacking or defending, probably both at the same time.
Oh, heads up there for Harris. He dipped 2 left sides into the grass there for about a quarter of the way down the Ullman straight there. That's not what you want to do if you want to keep yourself steady. Not to mention, since these are front-wheel drive cars, if you dip one wheel into the grass, the whole car just wants to pull into it as, oh, that almost happened for George Simmons, was about 3 inches away from clobbering the tire bearers. That would have taken out all 3 of these guys. Now Freitas is going to look for the inside for turn 1, but still isn't, I think he's close enough. He just doesn't want to go for the pass. Just behind in the background, you saw Gage have to go defensive against Fraser Smith at the same time. These guys are still all sorts of fighting with each other. Simmons is still able to hang on, but they are getting closer every lap through here.
Kind of interesting development. Most definitely, Freitas looks like he's the fastest driver through that first sector. Simmons fastest through the second sector. And then in the third sector, you have Harris being the fastest one of these 3. But altogether, they are 1-3 car pack. It is. I'm a little bit surprised that Freitas is still hanging back in that second place. I mean, he had that one try to get into first, and Simmons immediately did strike back and snatch that back into his hand. So, yeah, Freitas a little bit surprised he isn't fighting more, but at the same time, that second pack of cars isn't that far away either.
Just behind these guys, Fraser Smith is having to go around Nicholas Gage for the 4th position. He looked up the inside of Cunningham, was not able to get the spot secured. But Smith is about done waiting as well in the full set race machine. He wants to go right now in this machine. This is one of the other battles that's been extremely close. We've just been more focused on the race lead. Now these guys are close to the guys in front, and clearly Smith is getting a little bit frustrated there. Flashes the headlights to try to unsettle Nicholas Gage here. Oh, back through this final sector. Almost tags him in the exhaust pipe there on the rear end. This is honest. I'm holding my breath here for this one.
Now let's actually see if Fraser Smith can do something. He always had a great run through Limbo once again, but this time the 23 of Gage also had a great run through Limbo, so might not be the best timing here for Smith to try something. But oh, look at that!
Freitas finally gets it done. Simmons has to back off all the way to third as Damian Harris picks up the second position, cuts right across the nose of the two, who tries to come back on the outside to return number one. Now Harris on the defensive, he's up to second place, trying to go for the race lead now. Freitas is forced offline. We could see 3 wide action for the TCR race lead. They are 3 wide in the run down to turn number 2. Freitas pulls ahead. Harris trying to hang on, and Simmons dives down the inside of turn 2 for the second position. Still side by side for turn 3 and for turn 4 at the hairpin. The number 5 car still standing strong around the outside, and I think Simmons is going to get it done. They make a bit of contact as well.
And this is great for Freitas. Look at the gap that he has already got there. 7.5 tenths of a second. Already the gap between Freitas and Harris. So this is right now go, go, go time for Freitas, because this might be the chance of his lifetime.
Simmons had a massive dive there into the hairpin on Damian Harris. Gave him a little bit of a tap as well on the back end of the number 5 car. No damage, so they keep it strong, but the tempers are starting to rise here in the TCR battle for the second position at this point, because Michael Freitas, as a result of all that, has been able to pull a comfortable gap of about 7 tenths, which is quite comfortable for these touring cars. Oh boy, now I think we can breathe a little bit more as Simmons started to back off a bit more.
Will be quite a watch now on that timing board to the left between Freitas and Harris. Can Harris close back in that gap, or is Freitas just too strong? Let's have a look how this is going to develop here through the third sector. Harris was always quite great through this, closed up the gaps quite nicely that he had to open up through the first and second sector. Let's see what the timing says. It really closed it in, and oh, look at that! Too wide.
Too wide through the Le Mans corner. Harris goes defensive. Simmons is going to go around the outside. Nearly gives him another bumper down the straightaway this time round. So Simmons is going to be just a hair ahead at the braking zone. Clears around the outside, but not for long, because Harris is trying to fight back, and Simmons went in with too much speed. The two-car might try to come back here down this pit straightaway.
Freitas is most definitely loving that 1.2 seconds early gap between first and second, and we also still have to battle for fourth place in behind as well, but once again Simmons to the inside.
This time is going to get the pass done unless Harris can try to cut back on him here on the exit of turn 1. Will he go for the dive? He's only got 4.5 minutes remaining, so it is crunch time here in the race for the opening round of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, but he's going to elect to keep this one in line, and I think finally George Simmons has secured the second position. Now he's just got to see if he can run back down Miguel Freitas for first.
Yeah, only has about 2, maybe 3 laps to get that done. So it should be really interesting to watch where Petri will come around when the clock strikes 0.
You still got that battle for fourth place going on behind these guys as well. Fraser Smith and Nicholas Gage, and they've been going at it all throughout this race, and they are not done yet. The full send race machine has managed to pull ahead of Gage here in the past couple laps here when we saw those guys battling side by side, but Gage is not done yet. He definitely wants to come back on him. You're probably wondering why we haven't been focusing too much on the GT4 as well. I'll tell you what, these battles with the TCRs have been a heck of a lot more exciting to look at. We've had a couple passes up there, but for the most part, they've been kind of running their own race. The TCRs, that's where it's all been at here in Sebring.
Yeah, apart from, it seems like having a battle for fourth place between Draven and Pigneur, there isn't really any action whatsoever in that GT4 class as of this point. No, that wasn't touch, I think.
Nicholas Gage is getting aggressive, gives the bumper, nearly loses it on the curves there as he jumped the right sides onto the interior. So these drivers are getting very, very physical here. They're so close on the exit of the long curve in the run here down to Sunset. Gage goes for the inside. Nothing that Smith can do about it. He is a sitting duck. The 23 machine gets clear. Can Smith cut back in the run down the front straightaway here? He's going to try to get that crossover into turn number 1. Down the front straightaway we go. Bump drafting Nicholas Gage this time round across the start-finish line onto lap number 13. Just 2 minutes, about 2 laps to go for these drivers. Smith is going to pull around the outside line, trying to get the pass done. He gets cut off by Gage. No dice for the number 16.
Yeah, so Smith was ahead by just 1 lap to 16. Once again, super close to the bumper off to 23. But it's incredible how much Smith is trying to fight for that 4th place. But every single time he is ahead, somehow Gage comes back and just whoops away that 4th place from Smith.
The white flag is out. Emmanuel Petrie has just taken the last lap flag. Last lap board has been displayed to the field on the front straightaway here. So 1 minute 40 remaining. This will be the last lap of the race. Gage is still fighting really strong with Smith, trying to find some kind of way through. In the battle for 4th place at GT4, which is only about a third of a second apart, they also have only got 1 lap now to get this done. You see this battle right here going through turn number 1, trying to get a little bit closer there. Pishner's got to reel in Grevin here. These 3 cars have been under a blanket just about the entire race, but nobody's been able to go for a move.
Yeah, you're saying it. They have been this close together for pretty much all of the race, but nothing has been able to be done yet. That's exactly what we have been talking about in the GT4s. It's so incredibly hard to even make any moves at a track like Sebring for these cars, that basically you need a mistake of the guy ahead that is unforced to really have a passing opportunity.
So we take a look back now at the battle for 2nd place here between Simmons and Harris, trying to find their way through. The 2 drivers behind are going all over the place. Well, you just see them at the back left of the shot. They're weaving left and right across the straightaway as Gage tries to break the draft. Now, though, Harris is getting aggressive here, and he's coming out. Now, these guys are going to start their last lap this time by, so they have got to find a way through now if Harris wants to take over the 2nd position and bump Simmons down to 3rd. Already swinging to the right as Miguel Freitas. Simmons is good to stay right at the back end. Here comes Harris trying to go for the move here. Down to the turn number 1. Can he get this passed up for 2nd? This is the final time they're going to come through at speed through turn number 1. Harris gets squeezed in. Shoves George Harris on the right side of the track. Somehow they're still clean, but Simmons still is not clear. Harris has the nose in there. Down the corner they go. Almost making contact as well through turn 2.
Great fight between those 2. Harris sadly doesn't come away with that lead though. And here we have the 3 coming to the checkered flag.
Emmanuel Petrie off of the final corner at Sunset Bend for the 14th time today. He will win the season opener here at Sebring International Raceway for the iRacing IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. The other podium finishers coming up just behind him. Here comes the battle for 4th here. Tim Grevin has managed to do it. He's going to hang on to take the position here in 4th place. A brilliant battle. Nicholas Pishner finishes off in 5th. The driver behind going to have to settle for 6th. The fight, though, for the TCRs, not yet over, as now Fraser Smith trying to have a go around the corner. Front bit of contact on there as well, as Simmons is trying to get around Damian Owen. Harris is still trying to fight back, squeezes him in. This is down for the tire bend after the 2nd position in the TCRs. Never seen these guys go side by side the year before, and just there, Harris gets it done.
Great move by Harris, but he still has that 3rd sector coming up. That's his strong point. Simmons has to be able to stick with him to really make something happen here. Let's see how Simmons fares this time around.
This is the final section. At this point in time, Simmons has got to set himself up here for Sunset Bend. If he can't get it done here, he's not going to be able to get the pass done at all. It looks like Harris was a little bit wide there through the long curves. This is the last chance here for George Simmons. Already we see Harris trying to break the draft, leaving the left and right, all the way down the straightaway, snaking as far down as he can go. Simmons is going to get his nose in on the outside line. Final chance for the 2 car. He's going to get so close as Harris cuts him off in the run through the Sunset Bend. Simmons trying to get the crossover. It's going to be a drag race down to the start-finish line. Side by side, both cars trying to come on out of here for the line. Who's going to take this one? Way too close to call it the line. I think Simmons got him by 0.02 of a second between them.
Wow, what a fight. What a great finish to this race as well.
You cannot get much closer than that. I don't think I've ever seen a battle quite that close for second place come down between these two cars.
Yeah, most definitely. And you also have to give it up for Freitas. Just that one chance that he had, perfectly uses it to get that first place away from Simmons.
Whew. Take a look at this replay here. Coming to the line. This is for second. This is not even for the win. There's your winner just up there. Right there. That is your finish. George Simmons on the left, taking it 0.02 of a second between them. That is how we want to see one of these races finish on one of the most thrilling road course finishes I've seen in a while. These guys have been going back time and time again. Good on Simmons to finally get him at the line. That is, oh my word.
Probably 10 more meters and we might have seen Harris in front of Simmons. Just Simmons with the move of the season already.
Unbelievable. Miguel Freitas takes the win in the DCR class. We're so caught up in the battle for second, but Freitas does manage to take this position strong. Good on Freitas to take this win. Well deserved. He made the pass work around George Simmons, who just didn't have anything for him by the end. But Simmons still managed to come on out, though, with that second position. Did exactly what he needed to get it done. Results are official. Let's take a look here at the post-race results. Manuel Petri comes home to take the win by 3.3 seconds over Quentin Violante, with Rudy Bueno in the third position to round out the podium. You got Tim Grevin in fourth, Nicholas Pijner rounding out the top five. Jonathan Paulette is going to be in sixth place, Owen Watts in seventh, Michael Lemone in eighth, Dylan Roberts in ninth, and Tonin Titus rounds out the top 10 in GT4. Continue to go on down through the order we're going to have. Bram Den Boer in 11th place with Tyson Mayer in 12th, Joshua Helrung in 13th, Tom Edmonds, Tim Claessens, and Berjim Alio not finishing the race, both 10 laps down, along with Paul Ding. Stefan, you have the touring car class.
Yeah, and it was a fight till the end, not for Miguel Freitas, who had that one move, and he most definitely made it count. The Iberian winning today's race, 2 seconds ahead of George Simmons and Damon Owen Harris, who rounds out the podium here today at Sebring. Fraser Smith finishing in 4th place ahead of Ismael Habib Jimenez, with Alexis Tapia Aviso in 6th. Nicolas Gash at the very end finishes in 7th place, with Laszlo Szabos in 8th. 9th went to David Golda Resena, 5 laps back already. Mikael Garcia 12 laps down. Also he one of the cars that crashed out here today, alongside with Norbert Leitner and Matthew Crisp, who sadly didn't even make it around turn number 4 the very first time around.
What a way to open up the season. We come over here to Sebring, and we just come right back. And once again, the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, which is arguably one of the most thrilling races that you can find here on the series, comes home and delivers one heck of a season to prove that it was the closest road course race finish for a position I have ever seen in the 2 years that I've been commentating for iRacing. It wasn't even for the win, it was for second place, but you know what? A battle is a battle, and that was one heck of a battle right there. And then we got Lime Rock Park up next. I mean, it's just going to keep on coming.
Yeah, this is the season of giving, it seems like, for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. And, well, if it starts off like this, I don't even want to know what is coming up next time around, because Lime Rock Park in a TCR and a GT4s, it's going to be crazy hot.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of those people that, they stand on the side of the tracks, they wave the yellow flags. I think they're called track marshals. We're going to see a lot of those at work at Lime Rock Park. It's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, Lime Rock Park is one of those tracks where multi-class racing, it's entertaining. I think that's the best way to put it. We'll definitely be seeing a lot more attrition in that race than we did today, but I think that just adds to the entertainment factor.
Yeah, I mean, Lime Rock Park, it is that classic iRacing track. Everybody knows Lime Rock Park, and then we also have obviously Barcelona for week 3. Sonoma, Phillip Island. I think Sonoma might just be that little bit more chaotic than Lime Rock Park because of the nature of that track with the blind crest and everything. So, but still, Lime Rock Park, it is that big challenge. Everybody knows that track. There are no real mysteries about Lime Rock Park that anybody can pull out of their back of their hand to get in front of anybody. So really, it is a well-rounded series altogether if we look at it.
I think the race I'm most looking forward to here is going to be Long Beach. Prove me wrong, but that's also going to be one of those great races of attrition where we'll be seeing, especially in that final hairpin. Kid, that final hairpin is, it's going to catch at least somebody out where they're lapping somebody else. It's going to catch someone. It might be DCR, might be GT4, but somebody is going to meet a wall there.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen. Let's be honest about that. I mean, it's also like that kind of track where you're not gonna ever expect a clean race. Like, not even MX-5s are gonna have a clean race there. I don't even think you can have a clean race with the rookie Solstice, and we know how slow that car really is. So it is just that one classic track that everybody loves. Get some popcorn ready and watches that race because it is going to be one hell of a wreckfest.
Oh yeah, those are the races where if you want to see plenty of attrition, Long Beach, Lime Rock Park, those are the 2 races you need to tune into.
Yeah.
And Lime Rock Park is going to be up next for another 30-minute race there. I think that's about all the time we're going to have for one day. So, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you yet another presentation here of Friday Night Primetime here on RaceSpotTV. I've been Lorenzo with Stefan Schlack here, working with me beside me today in the commentary box with Connor and Maddock behind the cameras from start to finish of today's extremely thrilling presentation. Next week up is Lime Rock Park for another 30-minute adventure, this time through the trees and the hills. We'll talk to you all later on.